Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. We all know that GT7 update 1.49 brought brand new physics to the game, and well, it's pretty notorious at this point that it's been causing absolute mayhem. Whilst Polyphony are well aware of the glitches and bugs caused by the new physics and are aiming to patch them pretty soon, I've been messing around with hundreds of cars over the last few days just to see what can be done with each individual car. And well, today I'm going to bring you 5 of my favourite glitched and bugged vehicles under the new update 1.49 physics. I've tried to keep these as varied as possible, so you've got some cars that'll rocket off into the sky, you've got bouncing cars, you've also got rollover cars. Pretty much everything should be covered. When it comes to the tuning sheets for each of these vehicles, bear in mind that you can quite easily use them as a template for other vehicles as well. So if you want to have a go at something completely different to see what the effect is, then feel free. Anyway, let's get straight into it with tune number 1. So let's get started with the VW Sambabus. This is the one that I showed you in my initial video and it hasn't changed, so feel free to skip this one if you've already seen it. It runs on the M94-03 911 engine. You will need racing softs, the fully customizable transmission, body height set to 262 at the front and 460 at the rear, anti-roll bars 10, compression is 20 lowest at the front and 40 rear, expansion 30 front and 50 rear, frequency 1.10 front and 315 rear, negative camber angle is 6 for both, no toe angle. In terms of the fully customizable diff, you don't really have to worry about that. Next up is the fully customizable racing transmission. You're aiming to set this to the absolute minimum value, so you'll put it down at 100 and set the final drive all the way up to 6.000. Ballast is 200, set it to 50 all the way to the rear, and then as you can see, just pile the upgrades on and the weight reduction, and this will make for an absolutely ridiculous tune. This one will begin bouncing almost instantly. As soon as the grid starts there, you'll probably spot this one in the background. Just be aware that this one isn't really drivable, so most of the time I would recommend just having the AI drive this. Again, if it gives you this sort of error warning, the AI can still drive it, but you probably won't be able to. It's the same when it comes to all of the errored PPs where it can't calculate it. The AI can drive it, but you can't. For me, this is the best way to see it anyway, because you can drive around and just watch the carnage unfold. So, tune number 1, the VW Sambabus. Next up we have the Lamborghini Gallardo. This is a non-engine swap bounce tune. Now in terms of the tune itself, it's very similar to the previous. Racing soft tyres, no engine swap, of course this car doesn't have one. Fully customizable suspension, 75 and 155, anti-roll bar is 10, 20 on the compression, 50 on the expansion, 3.70 and 3.90 frequency, no camber angle, no toe angle, again the diff don't worry about. Fully customizable racing transmission set down to the minimum amount, and the final drive at 5.500. Ballast once again at 200 and set towards the 50 rear. Then just go ahead and power the rest of the upgrades on. Feel free to pause if you need to. Now in terms of the Gallardo, the main reason for this one making the list is the fact that it's not engine swap. This means a lot more players can go ahead and do this. I know there's a bunch of people that might not be level 50 just yet, but might want to partake in the absolute chaos. This tune is fully drivable if you do so wish, but I do prefer to just watch the AI bounce around and struggle, and that's exactly what this car is for. You'll probably find it rolling around the track, bouncing around, almost tipping over. It's absolutely ridiculous and one of the most wobbly cars I've ever seen in GT7 yet. From wheelie car to moneymaker, back to being an absolute mess. The Abarth 595 next. In terms of this tune, this is a fairly obvious one. Unfortunately, it cannot be driven in this form. However, you can make it drivable if you just want to play around with the settings. It has the K20C1 Civic engine, again racing softs and a fully customizable suspension, 75 and 180, 10 for both of the anti-roll bars, compression is 40, expansion 50, natural frequency at both of their highest, negative camber angle is 6 and no toe angle. Now in terms of the fully customizable racing transmission, once again minimum settings for this one, and then what you want to do is go ahead and put the ballast again at 200 and all the way to the rear. This is the typical wheelie build setup, but on the new physics it does tend to bounce around a lot and then often shoot itself up into the stratosphere. The Abarth with the Civic engine swap has always been an absolute wheelie popping monster, however under the new physics it's even more ridiculous. You'll find this one bouncing around like no tomorrow before eventually shooting itself off way up into the sky. It's absolutely ridiculous to see this one, and one of the funnier ones to see. Just like the Sambabus, it's even funnier when you watch the AI struggle to get this car under control and be prepared for it to just shoot itself upwards. One of my favourite hydraulic cars from this update is the Atenza Sedan. Yes, this one suffers from the bouncing hydraulic issue. As you can see, it's got the brand new engine swap, the 690T Giulia. It's going to run on racing soft tyres once again, fully customisable suspension with the body height at 110 and 200, anti-roll bar set at 4, don't worry about changing that, compression at 20, expansion at 50, natural frequency at 3.0 and 3.15, no negative camber angle and no toe angle. Onto the fully customizable racing transmission, set it to the minimum at 200, and then again the same with the final drive. Ballast at 200, 50 positioning to the rear, and add all your upgrades on. This is an absolutely ridiculous hydraulic car. As you can see, it might look all good on the start line, but as soon as this thing gets going, it just acts like a donk car on hydraulics, bouncing away all the time. Funnily enough, this one just never ever stops bouncing. You'll seemingly find it teleporting around the track once it gets respawned. You'll see it one side and then all of a sudden it'll be at the other. Now in terms of the car itself, a few adjustments can make it drivable to the player, but for me I do personally just prefer to watch the AI struggle in it, and it does suffer from that very notorious Scapes movie glitch. As you can see when you see it in Scapes movies, it does appear that Polyphony added hydraulics to update 1.49, bouncing away and never ever stopping. The Corolla GR next. This is one of the more infamous of the bunch alongside both the Abarth and the Sambabus. This one is absolutely ridiculous, no engine swap needed, so feel free to do this no matter your level. Racing softs, fully customizable, set to 90 and 180. Anti-roll bar is 6, compression is 20, expansion is 50, natural frequency is 3.45, no camber angle and no toe angle. Fully customizable racing set to 200, and the final drive pushed to 5.500. 200 ballast, put it as a positioning of 50, and away you go. Just pile on the upgrades, and this one is absolutely bizarre. With this being one of the more aggressive cars from the glitch, you can instantly get yourself out of bounds at a bunch of the tracks in game and have a good look around. As you can see, my Corolla got itself way past the edge of the actual detailed world. It's absolutely bizarre some of the things you can see with this vehicle, and it's also much more stable when it comes to bouncing around than the Sambabus, so you can genuinely take your time to have a look around the game and how everything is programmed. With this being a non-engine swap one, every player can do this, and yes, once again Scapes movies coming in clutch with the ridiculous hydraulic cars. Surprise, it's time for a bonus tune. Originally I was only going to do 5, but I did manage to get the Mini Cooper S engine swap to work with this glitch. K24A Civic engine swap for this one. Then you want to go onto the racing softs. Fully customizable suspension set to 90 and 180. Anti-roll bar is 4 for both, compression is 20 for both, and expansion is 50 for both. Natural frequency is 320 and 335, no toe angle and no camber angle either. Fully customizable racing transmission, set this to 150, and then go ahead and put the final drive up to 5.000. 200 on the ballast, 50 on the position, and add all your upgrades on. This one is absolutely ridiculous, and in Scapes movies it's absolute nightmare fuel. The wheels pop through the arches, it seemingly drops into the ground, and then eventually will probably just pop off into the distance. It's absolutely mental. In terms of the car itself, it will seemingly drive pretty normal until it hits a bump or a corner, And at that point, it's pretty much game over for the Mini Cooper. As you can see, it is very much a rocket car in the best sense of the word, and it will never ever stop. So there we go, to finish off a sick little bonus tune. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. If you do want to see more of these before it gets patched out, then be sure to let me know. And if there's any specific cars you want me to test out and try out, then once again, just let me know. Again, a lot of these templates can be used to, you know, kind of tune other cars and just make them go absolutely ballistic. It's a really funny glitch, and to be honest, it's some of the most fun I've had in Gran Turismo 7 really ever. For me, it just brings back that ridiculous charm that this game tries to take itself so seriously, and typically something goes absolutely wrong. Anyway, a massive thank you to all of my channel members. If you do want to join, it does massively help me out. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day wherever you may be. Anyway, that's it from me today. Take care guys. Peace.